Right, 5 November 2023, and I've decided today to quickly look at the judgment that was given against the CCC MPs. And this judgment is very, very problematic because it is illogical. It is not something that I would expect from a court of law. And I just want to unpack it quickly. And I obviously want to point you to the statements that have been made by Sengezo Shabangu today. He's made a full statement. He had an interview with Ezra Chisasbanda. I've posted the interview on Gambako YouTube channel. You can go and watch it there. But what is clear is that there is a problem in Zimbabwe. As I said yesterday, there is lawlessness in our country. The Zimbabwe government and the government of President Mnangagwa is becoming a very, very big problem. And as you saw at SADC yesterday, the discussion over the rigging that just took place in Zimbabwe in the past elections. And we're heading to a big problem because the solution to what President Mnangagwa is doing is eventually going to come from areas that are not in the political field because people are running out of options. The CCC is being put in a corner, and this has been happening for years. So if you look at the judgment that was delivered by Justice Tevez yesterday, on Saturday, this judgment is problematic because it is based on one thing. The judgment is based on the refusal to accept two letters that were written by Nelson Chamisa, and then the acceptance of letters that were written by Sengezo Shabangu. So the judge refused to accept the letters that Chamisa wrote on the basis that the letters were not stamped or they were not accepted by the Senate and Parliament. So Senate and Parliament did not recognize those letters that Chamisa wrote to say he's the only person who is supposed to communicate with Parliament and Senate. But they accepted the letters that were written by Shabangu. So when the judge made his judgment, he then said, as far as he's concerned, Shabangu has proved that he submitted his letters to Parliament, but they could not, he could not understand why Chamisa did not come to court. So if Chamisa had gone to court, then he was going to accept Chamisa's evidence that Shabangu is not the interim secretary general of the CCC. And this is very, very problematic because firstly, he accepted that the MPs had locus, so they had the right to be in court. He accepted that. Now, Chabang was not brought to answer what process he used to dismiss the MPs. So that was not brought, it was not clear if the judge had asked Shabangu, how did the members cease to be members of the CCC? That would have been a very, very good question to ask. But this was not asked. I read through the judgment. The judge was very, very playful. He was making statements in that judgment that I did not understand what he was doing over there. So, as far as I'm concerned, that judgment is very, very illogical. It's only based on that fact that he refused to accept Chamisa's letters. Everybody knows that Chamisa is the president of the CCC. So, how he ended up accepting Chabangu's letters and not the letters from Chamisa and not asking Chabangu, how did Ostalos stop being a member of the CCC? So how did Tobacco's band stop being a member of the CCC? You can clearly see that this was not a legal case. This was a political case, and this judge is said in SADC, in the SADC electoral report. The courts in Zimbabwe are now compromised. They are seriously, seriously compromised. There is no case here that would have made Chabang win a court case before a judge without proving how the people that he records stopped being members of the CCC. So it's crazy. It's not a judgment. And my suggestion to Chamisa is stop going to these courts. These courts are no longer the place where he needs to go. he needs to go to SADC. President Hakainde Hichilema is doing a great job. He's bringing ED to task. You saw what happened yesterday, and you can go and watch what Dr. Fedas Mteneri said this afternoon. He went into great depth, Dr. Mteneri, explaining what happened at SADC. ED was in a very, very big problem yesterday, and there's more that is coming. Everything that is going to happen now depends on SADC. These court processes, the by-elections, it's nothing. Chamisa should have nothing to do with it. In fact, he must withdraw from parliament, he must withdraw from Senate, he must withdraw from the councils, and let these guys go on with whatever they're doing. The biggest problem that we have is that Chabangu is going to get all the money that was meant for the CCC, that was meant for Chamisa. And this is the second time this is happening. You know, last time that money went to Tokozani Kupe, it went to Douglas Monzora. So now we're going to have that money going to Sengezo Chabangu. We have a big problem here, and Chabangu and Chamisa needs to sort this out immediately. You can clearly see after today's interview between Ezra Chisasbanda and Sengezo Chabangu that Chabangu has got no idea what he's doing. I can easily say that Chabangu is becoming like a crazy person because he's busy keeping on calling Chamisa his president. So what? What does he want Chamisa to do? He's causing all this confusion. What does he want Chamisa to come to him and beg him to let him become president or what? I don't understand what Chabangu is doing. He's a very, very irrational person as far as I'm concerned. And I was also surprised to see that one of his lawyers is Kutsatsa Pool, one of Tendai Biti's MPs. You remember the guy Tsunga, Kutsatsa Pulu, and the other guys were recalled, and Tendai Bit were recalled, and they were part of the PDP. So Kutsatsa Pulu is one of the lawyers of Sengezo Chabangu. And this is very, very problematic because these people are supposed to be in constant contact with Tendai Bit. And what is Tendai Bit doing about this? I kept asking this question. The problem that we're having here is on the side of people like Tendai Biti, we do not have uh, that ability to talk to these people and say what they're doing is actually destroying the fight for democratic Zimbabwe. This is not right, what they're doing. And they're destroying young people who are working very, very hard to be in parliament and to make changes. So if you look at the guys that are in this case, there's Prince Dubeko, Moyo, Veliswe Gomo, Tofa Mlilo, Sbanda, Watson, Gono, Ncube, Manduna, Dube, Makaza, Kufa Kutizwi, Chabangu is the respondent. I'm not seeing Ostalos here, but all I can say to you is we have proper MPs that were representing the CCC. And now what Chabangu says is he's going to go and look for the people who won by elections and he's going to make them candidates. Irrational behavior, and this thing is going to cost $5 million US. Do you know what we can do with $5 million US? It's a lot. Our country is in dire need of money, but these guys keep doing these things. We need an end to this irrational behavior. And judges like Mtewedzi, I do not know what they're thinking when they give such judgments, political judgments like this. There is no way this judgment can stand the proper test in a proper judicial system where someone just appears and they said these people are no longer members of my party, but my president is the president of the party. And you cannot say, how did you dismiss these people? How did they stop being members? That's a simple question, and Chabang should have been brought to answer that question. But as I said, this is not a legal case. This is craziness of the highest order. The ruling against Chamisa, this one is nothing. There's no ruling here. And no matter what they write, uh, there's a lot that is written there. It's got nothing to do with anything. The simple question is, how did you dismiss someone? Did you follow a disciplinary process? Did they do some misconduct? How were they dismissed? If I'm a judge, that is the first question I would ask. And Chabang would have had to answer that question. And if that question was not answered as a judge, then the case would have fallen away. So this is all I wanted to say today. Please go and watch Chawangu's interview. It's on Gambako YouTube channel. It's about 20 to 30 minutes with Ezra Chisaswanda. He is very, very irrational, Chabangu. The things that he's doing, they make no sense at all. And the fact that ED gazetted this, it shows that it's a ZANU PF hatchet job. These guys are working together, and Chamisa should have a plan for this. There is nothing here. Zimbabwe is not going anywhere as we speak. Everyone is just waiting for ED to go. Everything is stopped in Zimbabwe. The economy is on a standstill. I'm going to come back to you this week, and we look at what's happening in the financial sector. It's a crisis. I touched at NBS Bank last week. Now I'm going to touch on the Women's Bank. You're going to see what is happening. It's chaos in Zimbabwe. Open looting that is taking place, and the currency is collapsing. These guys are not paying their bills. That is how they're managing to keep this thing up. If they pay their bills, the whole currency will collapse. So let's look quickly at the comments. I do understand Chabang. That's Bandile Mabena. I don't know what you understand. Go and watch that interview. You feel embarrassed just listening to Chabang. Chabang has got nothing. He's saying nothing. The things that he's saying about Chamisa and all that makes no sense. And then Manyoni BT, Hopoero, the evil. All this is caused by Hopo. What did Hopo do? I don't know how Hopo is involved. Maybe I need to understand. I think the person I can blame here is Beat. Beat needs to rein in his guys. Kukaka Pulu was on the CCC ticket in Kulumani. He was recalled, and they supported him during the case against Monzo. So he should not be doing this. And as I said, there's a tribal aspect or view or angle to this whole thing. People should stop this tribalism. They should stop trying to get into parliament through the back door. This is not right. But it needs to call his guys, the ex-PDP guys, and tell them to stop what they're doing. And then Martin says, do you still have hope on SADC? Yes, ED has not been recognized as the winner of the election by SADC. The SIOM report has been adopted, which means the Zimbabwean election is not free and fair. And Chamisa should focus there. He should go to SADC, he should continue to push them. There needs to be power sharing in Zimbabwe. ED is not going to be able to run the government by himself because the election that put him into office is not a valid election. It's not valid. And Dr. Mteneri explained that this afternoon. Please go and watch that. Guys, I need to end this here. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. If you don't have the judgment, go to gambako.com. Have a deep look at that judgment. This judge has nothing. There was nothing in that judgment. There was no case. Chabang had no case at all. You cannot say you've dismissed someone, and yet you are claiming that your president is Chamisa, and your judge is not asking you if your president is Chamisa, and he's saying this is not what he said. Prove to us why and how you dismiss this guy. That is where this whole case should have died. The judge should have dismissed the whole case against Chamango. And these MPs, they are rightfully supposed to be the MPs. Now we're going to go to another election. The nomination court is on Tuesday, the 7th, and we're going to have the by-elections in December. A waste of $5 million US. This is how I see it. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and good night.